Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I hope the day is going on smoothly, and I hope it's been a great day for you. All right, it's been a very interesting week, and there's been a lot of buzz here and there. I hope we are all doing well and you are keeping well. All right, so today I'd love us to speak about the calibration code, how to stay on track when life knocks you off course. All right, so for the past 3 weeks we started on speaking about grief. From grief we moved to building a system, how after a while grief might fail, so we moved on to building system, how you can leverage a structure, about 4 layers we spoke about last week, that can help you ensure that you stay on track, not just having a goal. When you have the goal, that's the first layer, but that's not enough. You then build a system that ensures that you stay on consistently and you keep an eye on your goal and the objective that you have planned for the year. So today we are moving away from that. Now that you have the system, how do you maintain the system? How do you keep the engine running? How do you ensure that things do not fall off the rail or do not get off track? When you also look at the world we are in, everything is changing. The goals you set last week, the system you built, by now maybe you've started missing 1 or 2 objectives or 1 or 2 targets, and you are seeing yourself not on course and on track. So today we are going to double down on how do you then have a calibration of your system. How do you put a check and balance? How do you put a kind of maintenance around what you've done? And I'm going to be a bit, quick and fast with some of the conversation. Now, I've always loved to speak from a place of personal experience so that you can easily connect and understand that I'm not just speaking because I feel like speaking or I'm happy to talk. This is, real life scenarios, experiences, challenges that we are distilling and trying to break down so that as much as possible we learn together. And where we don't agree, you update or you give the feedback, I don't agree, and then we align or we learn together, as it were. Now, one of the first experiences I'd love to share was after spending about 3 to 4 years at Nestle, businesses and organizations change and evolve from time to time. There was an opportunity for another person to then take over from my line manager at that point in time, and it was a bit overwhelming. Immediately that change occurred. Why was it overwhelming? It's a natural transition for organizations to bring in people and then other people will leave. But I think in my own case, it's simply because I'd had delayed opportunity or delayed promises. When the line manager changed, the work style of working changed, the expectation changed. It was like starting over again, and I got discouraged. And one of the things I've seen is that the previous line manager had promised some things that were not yet achieved. In the Nigerian local parlance, we say that he has promised heaven and earth. Maybe it was his style of coaching and all that, but not materialized. And at that point in time, I also then had the most difficult stakeholder I'd ever worked with at the factory level. Very interesting personality, somewhat giving opinion that is of your, pay grade, and then ask for help or support even from him directly, you are not getting it. So I felt like I was drowning, and this was challenging. So a voice was at the background saying that, where do you start from? Are you sure you can do this? Why not just give up? But I figured that as much as possible, I learned something critical, and that's the fact that when system change or system breaks down, that's not the problem. The problem will be not knowing how to fix it when that breakdown occurs. And that's exactly what we'll be dealing with today. it's just a matter of time. Almost every system will break down. And when that breakdown happens, which I want to guarantee you is not if, it's not might, it will break down, because life happens and life interrupts everything that you have set in place. And when these unexpected changes of things will happen, you will have bad weeks, bad day, sometimes even if care is not taken, bad month. And the question we need to answer is, what do you do at that point in time? Because you definitely see yourself falling off the track. And when this happens, how do you get back on that track? How do you try to find yourself on the right, trajectory that you'd love to be? Now, one thing we've seen is that not everybody usually bounces back. For example, I've seen scenarios where people lose their job, and that seems to be the beginning of, a downturn in their life and in their career. But if you have all the system put in place and you are very, very, clear about your goal. I give an example. Someone says, and I've heard that his line manager advised him that at least apply for a new job once in 6 months, even if you are not taking it. The line manager says, I do the same because I want to know my value in the marketplace. And this is critical and important. As a business owner, as a founder, as a co-founder, whatever your status, you may not have this, opportunity. But notwithstanding, you still need to put yourself in a place where you're on top of your game. You are, emerging into new dimensions in your field and in your, environment. And your goals and the system you build around your career, for example, is also an example. All right, so today we'll be talking about the calibration code. How do you then, retrace your steps when things are falling off the chain, when things are falling off the track? So the first question is, what knocked you off track in the past 2 to 3 months? If I'm to speak, I would say I've been quite overwhelmed because of the planning, the closing out of 2025, and then the planning for the year 2026. It's been quite overwhelming. Whatever it is that is overwhelming or knocking you off your track are some of the things we'll be speaking about in this session. And I think what I'd love to move into quickly is the 5 warning signs your system is breaking down. Now, before you can fix anything, you have to recognize it is broken. So most people don't notice when they are going off track. And this is quite a challenge because of how fast-paced our world is getting. Everything is fast food, fast order, fast delivery, fast chain, fast moving consumer good. Everything is fast. You have a microwave, the things that you put on the fire, you warm 5-10 minutes with your microwave, 2-3 minutes, you are good to go. So everything is fast. So sometimes you are getting off track, but you don't notice until you are so far gone that you are then starting, to feel it that something is getting or going wrong. And that's the trap that we have in our world. So I'm going to try hard to help you look at things you need to watch out for. And I've called them the 5 warning signs that your system is breaking down. And when you spot this, you need to then calibrate immediately before it becomes a crisis. Now, the first warning sign your system is breaking down is what we call, or I will refer to as, the skip. The skip, is simply what we do by saying that, okay, I'm not able to do this today. Yes, it's in my daily plan, it's in my to-do. I'll skip today and I'll do it tomorrow. Maybe it's a daily activity of, say, for example, you walk 1,000 steps daily. You will say to yourself, I'll skip today, and instead of 1,000 for tomorrow, I'll do 2,000 tomorrow. Now, one skip becomes 2, and this happens to almost every personal goals and objective. It can be your intent to read book, and you say, I will use 1 hour per day to read book. It can even be to study the scripture or whatever experience that you have in your personal life. So what you see is that 1 skip becomes 2. 2 becomes a week. A week's become, I guess I just skip, I just quit. And one of the things you need to understand is that your brain will continue to test the system you have put in place to track the attainment and how you want to achieve your goal. Do we really have to do this every day? That's what your brain will be wiring and be telling you, because your intuition is telling you that, basics might be enough. You don't have to, hammer on it every day. And if you give in once, there is this part of you, your psyche, that, will start to feel like this thing called system or goal or activity or to do is optional. And that's why there are things that you need to ensure that weekly you do them. An example is showing up today. I will show up every week. There is already a system, but if that system is there and I've got a lot of meetings before the session, I can get overwhelmed or even get carried away, and I'll say, maybe we'll start late. Maybe we'll do it next week. And this is where you need to be very, very careful. And this, I've tried as much as possible to ensure that I don't skip, except for, maybe very important holidays that I need to spend time with my family. All right. So the calibration you need to then do when you find yourself with this number 1 warning sign of skipping is that if you skip once, do not skip twice in a row. If you skip one, do not skip twice in a row. And you need to acknowledge that skip without shame. Not that, you feel guilty, you feel sad. No, just acknowledge it and say, oh boy, I missed it yesterday. And then don't allow it to happen today. And you need to then find a way of recommitting immediately to say, tomorrow, I'm going to get this thing done. And there will be no stories. Because the challenge is that if you continue on that trajectory, you might end up finding yourself, dropping off totally. The warning sign number 2 is what I call the drift. Now, in the drift, you are still doing the actions, but you are doing them half-heartedly, going through the motions. And one of the challenges is that this, you will say that, but you are still doing it. No. You are burning time and energy, but getting no results. Because sometimes you need to understand that when you are not committed and fully involved in an activity, you will not see that result. It will just be, let's do it to tick the box. No, you are not doing this to tick the box. So eventually, you would think this is not working for me, when really you are not working it. You are the one that is not working it. You are half-heartedly engaging at that particular activity or at that particular process. And what happens with your psychology is that you have lost connection to your why. The action has then become monotonous, has become robotic, has become, let's just do it to tick the box. You've forgotten, why did I start doing what I'm doing? And this can happen a lot. For example, as an IT professional, when you receive calls or you are picking calls or you are treating a ticket, it can just be one of those things that you just say, this is what the person should do. If the person has done this, it must work. In fact, there are instances where in my early days, people will accuse IT people that all we do is to restart system. And that when we restart system, it fixes the issue. So as much as possible, one of the things you need to understand is that every situation also is not the same, and you need to show up and be present. You need to show up and be present. So you don't want to wait until someone will pull you aside and say, hey man, are you here? You are here physically, but in terms of action, you are not here. And I think this can happen to us in almost every area of our life. Even as a parent, to our children, we are physically with them in terms of Our body is physically present, but the impact, the engagement we are having with them does not show that we are present. There are instances where I've seen my daughter or my son watching a TV program and I know something is wrong with what they are watching. So I do a quick search, a quick review, and I say to myself, no, this is not healthy for you. You cannot consume this content. I've also seen instances where when the children goes to the library, they've got books, they are reading some books, we start seeing some behavioral change. And then my wife will look at the book, look at the review, and then say, no, can't read this book. So there are times that you might think that you are physically there, but you are not present. And that you need to understand. So how do you do the calibration in this instance? The first thing is you need to reconnect with your why. Why are you doing what you've said you want to do? Oh, I want to take 1,000 steps in a day. Why? You need to reconnect back to that why. And then you need to ask, why did you even start it in the first place? And in asking this question, what you want to achieve is that you want to bring intention back to that action. You want to bring a focus to exactly why am I doing what I'm doing? And then you reconnect back, and then you have calibrated on that particular scenario. All right, so warning sign number 3 is what I call the excuse factory. And this is what it looks like. I'm too busy. I don't have time. This week is crazy. Maybe next week. And this happens to every one of us. There's no one that can tell me that, oh, I don't have myself. Once in a while, cut some slack or go to excuse factory and pull off some excuse that, oh, this one, it will anybody that hears it will say yes, is a valid one. So the danger is that there will always be an excuse available. Always. Why didn't you take the 1,000 step yesterday? Oh, it was hot. Oh, it was cold. Oh, my work took a longer time than usual, so I couldn't do it. Oh, why didn't you use the stairs in the office? You work on the 8th floor, and then you say, oh, every morning I walk so that it's going to help my heart, it's going to help my cardiovascular, it's going to help my my legs, it's going to help my muscle, it's going to help me relax, it's going to help me to be more agile. And then you say, oh, but I got in late, I got in 8:15, and I have a meeting for 8:30, so I just used the lift. So if you accept one excuse, you will then see yourself accepting the other ones that will follow through. And what your brain is looking for is an escape, an exit. It wants to protect you from the discomfort of going through the pain of getting the result. And guess what? Comfort is the enemy of growth. Comfort is the enemy of growth. I give an example. When we started out, building Press One, I was still working full time. And I tell you, I have every excuse not to be available. I'm tired, I have a family, I have a demanding job. Very valid excuses. But if I had waited for the perfect time, maybe by now I will still be waiting. And by now it's well over the 4th year. So you can see how time flies. But I had to tell myself that, excuses are not for me, they are not in my book. I'm staying in the game. So when I do the day job, I've closed from work, I focus back on Press One. And this is what I think we need to do to, help ourselves calibrate and move away from this excuse factory. I want you to write down right now on your notepad, write down top 3 excuses that you always give for you not to achieve your daily, weekly, monthly objective, or something that you have been trying to do for a long while, but you've not been able to achieve it. If you are not able to do the exercise now, please note it and do it later on after this conversation. The next thing is you ask, is this real or is this resistance? Is it a valid excuse or is just a resistance coming from me to not get the difficult things done? If it is real, adjust the system. If it's a resistance, push through. Adjust the system means that maybe what you have said is not smart. maybe it's not realistic. Maybe you're at the early stage and you're setting a goal for a growth phase, or a phase that is, much more demanding than where you are. So that will help you with your calibration. Now, warning sign number 4 is the comparison trap. The comparison trap. What does this look like? Everyone else is doing better than me. Their system is working, mine isn't. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Now, one of the things why this is dangerous for you to look at it from this perspective is that you are comparing your process to someone else's highlights reel. Meaning that, there are different conditions working for two different people, and the process they will pass through is totally different. And some people are way ahead of you. They have done more work than you are doing, so they have obviously earned the outcome that you are seeing. And this is where it is also dangerous. Now, again, one of the things you will not see is that you will not see their struggles, you will not see their pains, you will not see their problems. You only see their wins. In fact, I've shared it over and over that there was a year on LinkedIn that everyone got promotion apart from me. Everyone. When I mean everyone, I mean everyone. Anything I do on LinkedIn, all I see is congratulations. I've been promoted. Congratulations. I've just started a new role. I mean, everybody, apart from me. So, again, psychologically, comparison is a dampener of your own trajectory and motivation. It kills your motivation. It makes you feel like you are behind even when you are making obvious progress. And, I've given this example also that when I was stuck as, an IT coordinator back then at Nestle, I watched my peers get promoted, and I always ask the question, what's wrong and when is the time? But again, I've come to then understand that they have some advantages that I don't have. And I cannot also see their struggles. They are working with a different function, different team. So the criteria that we are passing through to achieve the end goal of that promotion is totally different. So I learned to understand that my timeline is different from every other person. And this is what you need to understand. Your timeline is not Mr. B's timeline. You are two different entities, and your timelines are different. So how do you calibrate this comparison trap? Stop scrolling, stop comparing. Stop scrolling and looking for what's not lost, or tracking someone's, career. Oh, where is this person now? Where is that person now? Let everyone be on their lane. Now focus on your progress from last week to this week. What have I done well? Where have I made positive strides? Then celebrate your small wins. One of the things we undervalue in our climb and generally as human is that some things look insignificant. But I can tell you that even the completion of your daily task, say you have 10 things to do there, you've completed all 10, it's a phenomenal result. Celebrate it to whatever level you can. There are times that when I do a good job, I tell myself that today I'll take this nice drink I've been keeping. There are also times that I wake up and I say, hey, I'm popping wine today. And then I call the children and I say, we are celebrating. So you need to celebrate those small wins. Don't wait and say it has to be big, and then that's it. Now, the final warning sign is what I call the silence. What does this look like? Now, you stop talking about your goal, you stop posting, you stop sharing progress, you stop doing all the things that you should do to ensure you're on track. You just go quiet. And this is the final stage of quitting. It's the final stage of giving up, and it is dangerous. When you stop giving reports, when you stop showing up, when you stop doing the things that are the first stages or second stages before you get your output or your result, then you are saying, I am done. And when you stop being accountable to others or people you should give report to, you stop being accountable to yourself. I'm bold to say that we as human will be better off if we have people we are accountable to. But you realize that our generation is such that most times nobody wants to be accountable to anyone. We just want to be the boss. That's why you see that even in large organization, the CEO is still accountable to the board. The board is accountable to the laws of the land. There is always somebody is accountable to. If you are not accountable to someone, then there is going to be a trouble. Now, one of the things you also see with silence is that you might think that you are protecting yourself from the shame of failing publicly. But when you isolate yourself, it guarantees your actual failure. In fact, I always say that isolation is the first phase to anyone's downfall. Immediately you isolate yourself, no one is interested in your case, no one is giving you feedback, no one is giving you suggestion. You just isolate and you are all by yourself on your own. That's a huge one. I've shared in my stories before that when I got frustrated to some instance or some point, I figured that I just need to solve things on my own. But after a while, I realized that it made more sense for me to talk to people who are senior colleagues, who have been in similar roles or similar path. And when I heard their stories, when I heard what some of them passed through, it encouraged me to know that after all, Okoyemi, you are not doing badly. All right, so we've spoken about 5 signs: the escape, the drift, the excuse factory, the comparison trap, and the silence. All right, so the next thing I'd love to speak about is how do you then do a reset? How do you then try to bring yourself back to the consciousness of the goals you have in the first place? And I've called it the 3R reset method. Now that you are beginning to recognize that you are off track, I will try to give you these 3 steps to help you come back on track. And I call it, like I mentioned, the 3R reset method. The first R stands for recognize. The second R stands for reflect. And the last R stands for recalibrate. Recognize, reflect, and then you what? You recalibrate. In recognition, you need to spot the drift early. You need to start spotting when you are not engaged fully. That's why you see that organizations today want to track their performance holistically by saying that how many percentage of our employees are engaged. It means how many people have their heart wholly and fully with us, doing what they should do at the minimum, and how many have their hearts out of the door or at home but physically present. Now, the faster you recognize that you are off track, the easier it is for you to get on track. And what I would encourage when you recognize and spot this drift early is then to implement what I call a weekly review ritual. And this weekly ritual is not something that is complex. It's going to be a non-negotiable 30-minute appointment with yourself every week to assess progress. It means you are booking your calendar for the best time that you can create for 30 minutes to say to yourself, how am I doing this week? And what you need to do is you need to set it to be same day, same time every week. Same day, same time every week. And I would propose that you look at it from either Friday afternoon or Sunday evening. These are possibly some of the best times that would have given you a window of opportunity to see exactly how your week might have progressed. Now, what you review, I would say that you can ask 5 questions. What did I execute? Did I execute my system this week? You need to be specific. Which days did I do what I committed to? No judgment, just data. That's number 1. Did I execute my system this week? Number 2, what worked well this week? What worked well this week? What action produced results? What felt good? What should I do more of? Number 3, what didn't work this week? You are asking yourself, where did I struggle? Was there anything that blocked me or caused that struggle? And what should I do less of or totally eliminate? That's what you're asking in the third step of your weekly review. Number 4 is, what warning sign did I spot? Now, if there are any, spot them, and you're asking, am I skipping, drifting, making excuses, comparing, or going silent? What stage am I in on that, critical phase of trying to, spot what you are going through? Now, the last question you should ask in your weekly review is, what's my one adjustment for next week? Don't pick 5, don't pick 4, don't pick 3. What is my one adjustment for next week? Just one. Because small changes compound. And if you do too many changes at the same time, you can get confused. So just pick one and focus on that one. For example, you can say that every Friday at 5 p.m. I will do my weekly review. It's my calendar and it's non-negotiable. In fact, you can set your phone to go into a do not disturb mode every 5 p.m. on Friday as you're about to start that review. All right. Some weeks I celebrate wins, whether it is big, whether it is small, I celebrate them. Other weeks I see I'm drifting and I course correct before it becomes a crisis. Those are personal examples. And I can say that this 30-minute ritual have saved me countless times because they bring me back to a place where I should be. Let me know if you think I should work on a weekly review template to share with you. If you think you'd love me to do that, please let me know. I'll take my time to work on it and I'll share it in the comment section. All right, so the second R is reflect. Reflect, diagnose the real problem. Now, most people fix the wrong problem because they don't deep enough. And I think this is just a challenge with laziness, a challenge with just staying at the surface. You realize that until you go to the root of a tree and you pull things out the way you should pull them out, cutting just the branches or the trunk, you are wasting your time. The challenge sometimes also is that you say that I don't have time and I don't think I can process it now. And then you keep shifting the real problem. Another thing I've seen is that sometimes when people are just, even afraid to fail, so you are unconsciously self-sabotaging yourself. You are unconsciously sabotaging yourself because you don't want to dig deep and find what the issues are. And I say that for you to really do a diagnosis, for you to reflect, you must then be ready to ask better questions or the right questions. And, you can use several methodologies, but I would speak about one today called 5 whys. When you identify a problem in your weekly review, ask why 5 times to get to the root. Example, surface problem. I didn't post on LinkedIn last week. This is, absolute. This is real. I didn't really post as per how I should post. So the first why didn't I post? All right. The answer that is, you don't need to, go far to get is I didn't have time. All right. So why number 2? Why didn't I have time? All right. Another surface response is work was crazy busy for me last week. All right. Number 3 is why then did work take over my personal goals? All right. The answer to that is I didn't protect my content creation time block, meaning the time I had for it on a Sunday that I should have sat down and do it. I didn't do it. I was doing something else. And in this case, if I can remember clearly, I think I was watching Morocco and Senegal. All right. So why number 4? Why didn't I protect my content creation time block? So I felt I have to, watch the match. The match is once in a lifetime. But I can say that maybe I felt guilty saying no to what I would call my rest time or my recreation time. So why did I feel guilty? I'm afraid that, I'm going to miss out on a great match or a great opportunity. And, when it comes to even engaging about that thing later on, I'm going to miss out. I'm not going to be able to engage and all that. All right. So when you look at all this, you realize that as much as possible, the real fear or the real challenge is that I did not set my boundaries properly to say that if something can wait and I can do it later on, then I must prioritize my personal goal. And the solution in this case is not to find more time. It is then the confidence, or I need to develop the confidence to protect my priorities no matter what comes up. So I hope that works for you in terms of reflection. The next R, the third R, is recalibrate. Adjust without abandoning. Recalibrate. And what you need to know is that the system isn't the problem. The system just needs adjustments. I have heard that when you shoot a satellite to the space, the positioning of where it's meant to land in the space, it keeps readjusting until it gets to that destination. So you need to understand that you need to then find, you need to adjust your system if you've been able to discover a problem. And that's what recalibration we'll be talking about. Now, what's a trap? Most people think this isn't working, I need a different system. So they start over again and again and again and again and again. Most people think that this isn't working, so I need a different system. So they start over again and again and again. Now, one thing I've come to tell you, or the good news, is that you don't need a new system when something is not working. You need to calibrate the one you have. That's all that you need to do. Something is not working, recalibrate what you have. And there are three types of calibration. The first one is that you reduce the load. Maybe you are overwhelmed. Maybe you have committed too much. This is when you reduce the load. I was sharing with someone recently to say that don't hesitate to say no, because the more yes that you say, the more the things that will suffer. But the more no's that you say, the more the things you will make out time that will be probably more important that you will do. All right, so you can start by cutting a percentage of your commitments. If the workload is too much or is too high in this calibration phase, you can cut like 50%. Bam, just cut it. Keep the highest impact actions only. Don't do what I would call carry me. People should see me here, people should see me there. No. Keep the high impact actions only. Those are the ones that should concern you. All right. An example, you said to yourself, I'll post every day on LinkedIn, make 30 calls to customer, attend 3 networking events every month. Now, if you are calibrating that kind of system, what you simply do is you say, maybe I should reduce my LinkedIn engagement by 40%, so I post 3 times a week. The 30 calls I should reduce by 50%, so I make 15 calls. The 3 networking events, I will attend 1. Now, better to do less consistently than do more sporadically. Please hear me and hear me well. It is better to do less consistently than more sporadically. And I have seen this over and over and over, especially at the early stage of startup, where I try to do everything: sales, marketing, product, operations, technology, people, and what have you. I was drowning. And one of the things that I learned and I knew very early was that what's one thing only you can do? What's that one thing that no one else can do for you? So at a later stage, I had to pick just one thing and I focused on it, and then push the rest to other talent and other team members who could do that. And the impact was that I had better value and I could see myself improving on what I was bringing on board. Calibration type number 2 is adjust the timing. If you see yourself consistently missing your, time blocks, you have said, I'll do this on Sunday, but you see yourself missing it. The next thing you need to ask yourself is maybe Sunday is not the right time. Maybe it is Saturday night. Oh, maybe Saturday night is not the right time. Maybe it's also night. So adjust the timing. Change when you do the action, not whether you do it. All right, I have an example here to say that write content 6 to 7 a.m. every day, but you realize that your kid needs your time, getting ready for school, and you had constant interruption. Calibrated system, move it up. Move the time up, and maybe write your content 9 to 10 after the kids are asleep. Yes, you might not be at the best then, but it's better that you do something and do it consistently than not do it at all. Why do I think this will work? All right, the action stays the same. The timing fits your reality. I think it should work because your action, you are not changing the action. You are changing the time to find the time that fits your reality. The final calibration type is simplify the process. When you see that the system feels too complicated and there are too many steps, here, there, no, that's not good enough. You need to make it easier and remove friction. That's the thing you need to do at this stage in simplifying the process. Make it easier and remove friction. It's not all the time that you think that, because you are building a tech business, you must have a web app, you must have an app, no. What is the easiest thing for your customers to use, and what are the frictions that is stopping them from, onboarding and having access to your service? An example can be for anyone creating content that you need to research the topic, outline the post, write the draft, edit, design the graphics, and schedule your posts. 6 steps. When you move to a calibrated system, you can use voice note to capture ideas, write posts directly on LinkedIn, post immediately. So you have eliminated the bit where you are talking about, I need to research the idea, outline the post, write draft, edit the draft, design graphics. No, you have moved from 6 steps to 3 steps. Use voice note to capture ideas, post directly on LinkedIn, post immediately. 3 steps, and that's good. Why do I think this will work in terms of simplifying the process? It becomes easier, and the easier it is, the more likely you will do it. I've never seen a man that said, he raised their hand and said, all I like to do is difficult things. No, I've never seen a man. So if you simplify a process, it makes it easier, and the easier it is, the more likely you will do it. There's something I've called a recalibration decision 3. Ask yourself, am I overwhelmed? Reduce the load. Is the timing wrong? Adjust the timing. Is it too complicated? Simplify the process. All right. The important rule you need to note and take care of here is that you need to change one thing at a time. Test for 1 week, then adjust again if needed. Change one thing at a time, test for 1 week, then adjust if needed. Now, based on what you've learned today, what's one calibration you need to make to your system? The last concluding part is what I call the calibration mindset. The first thing I'd love to say here is that you need to start thinking of understanding the fact that you must shift your perspective. And this is critical. You must shift your perspective when it comes to falling off the track. What I've seen that happens most times is that most people will treat it as a failure when they fall off the track. What I'm here to tell you today is that everyone has fallen off the track before. Everyone. If anyone is human, they would at one point or the other in their life fell off that track. Maybe it was at high school, university. They say, I will read 6 hours a day. One day they will not read that 6 hours because no one is perfect. So here's what I'm going to tell you. Your falling off the track is not a failure point. Rather, it is a data point. Hear me and hear me well. Your falling off the track is not a failure point. It is a data point because it is not a conclusive event. And that's the way we take failure sometimes. Because failure in itself is part of the success journey. It's not also a conclusive event. So it's a data point. You will learn what does not work for you as a person. You will learn what's truly a priority versus what your thought or what you thought was a priority. What is priority is different from what you are thinking is priority. So you will learn that. Now you will also learn your weakest point and where you need more support. And then you would have evolved your system to make it better. Not the way you started when you started, breaking things down or asking all the questions that we ask all through this conversation of how to recalibrate. Now, every breakdown should be taken as a feedback for your breakthrough. And you realize that no major champion or person of repute will tell you that I am 100% on track. What you see is that champions, successful people get back on track faster than anyone else. That's the difference. The difference is when you're off track, how long will it get you to be on track? All right. This is not calling for perfection. This is calling for you to calibrate, break down things, decimate them, and then you work out what you believe is the best for you. And today I'm not saying that you will never fall or nothing of such will come to you. What I'm saying today is that getting back quickly is what is most important, and we must not lose sight of it. All right. Like I always say, when I realized things weren't going the way I should go or should go for me back then at Nestle, after a while, I had to come back and ask myself, what's really wrong? I first of all realized that I was not at my best thought or best position. I was drifting. I asked myself questions on what's really wrong, and then I recalibrated my approach, and eventually it worked out for me at the end. I had the mission opportunity I was spoken about. There was double promotion. I joined the IT leadership team, not because I never failed, but because I never stayed falling. It wasn't because I never failed. It was because I never stayed falling. And that's what I'm asking you to do. Don't stay down. Recalibrate. Don't stay down. Recalibrate. Don't stay down. Recalibrate. All right. I'd love to leave you with a challenge. All right. I think it's straightforward. I would love to ask you to commit to a 30-minute weekly review every single week for the next 90 days. Same day, same time, non-negotiable. Choose a day in the week that you would then sit down and do a thorough 30-minute weekly review. All right. For tools that will be relevant, if you're interested, please drop it in the comment section for me to create and share. Is a weekly review template. I'll be glad and happy to share that. The calibration decision tree graphic, and then maybe my email address if you need help getting back on track, or you want us to speak further on any of the things I spoke about. In closing, remember, you are not failing, you are calibrating. And calibration is the skill that will make you unstoppable. Now I encourage you, I enjoy you, go calibrate. If you have committed to it, drop a like, drop fire, drop any emoticons that speaks to how you are feeling, to say that yes, I am committed to the weekly review. Awesome. Thank you everyone who has joined. I'm glad to have you here. I'm glad to learn alongside with you. It's been a pleasure that I'm your host today. I'm your very own Wayemi Shokunbi. See you next week, and stay on top of your game. We've learned the grades, we've learned how to build the system. Now we are saying how to calibrate the system and ensure we don't fall off the track. And we spoke today on the calibration goal, how to stay on track when life knocks you off course. Right? Thank you everyone. See you next week.